No.
There it is. Holy fuck, that blew my eardrum out. Welcome back to the show. I'm John.
I'm Brittany.
And this is...
Random Rewind.
We have a new desk. Kind of.
It's a table.
It's a table. So we can invite guests now and we can have multiple camera angles. And that's the whole...
It's not the news anymore.
No, it's not the news anymore. We're not the newscasters
We're
anymore.
We're going to miss it, but it was fun.
It was fun.
If we need guests, they need a place to sit and we can't put them in the middle.
And now, if you can't see it on camera, we've got a lot more space around this table now. So we can actually walk around and have more people on set. So, yeah, cool.
I'll show you.
Anyway, yeah.
I couldn't do that before.
No, because there was a softbox right there and a whole shelf system right there.
You couldn't do that.
You couldn't even walk that direction.
I couldn't walk that direction.
No, you could. We both had to walk in this way around the desk because it was so crowded. But if I turn the camera around, maybe I will. Here, check it out.
I had to shuffle in first.
Here's the studio. There's Brittany. Hey, and then we got the studio. There's light. Sorry for the light.
Woo, it's bright.
There's one of the cameras, another camera over there. There's the controller desk back there. But we have a lot more room over here and over there. And yeah, now you can see our studio. So yeah, there you go.
Yay! backstage tour, and we
Yeah.
can have guests. So and it's comfortably because
Yes.
before we would have been smooshed.
Yeah, I think we would have had to
Smushed.
sit in the middle like Rhett and Link and their guests.
They would have had to sit in the middle.
That's what they have.
It would have
They
been
always-
very tight.
That's what they do. It's like
I know,
shoulder
but
to
like-
shoulder, and it's so awkward looking to me. And I don't know. I want to chill and relax. I don't need somebody's shoulder against my
Be like-
shoulder. Be like this, like can of sardines.
Would you
while we're-
answer? Shh.
Kick them.
What did you say? No. Say good things.
Good things
Hey,
only.
that's
Good
it.
things only. Anyhow, we got a more of a reaction type show for you today, based off of.
So movie lores, or the best way to describe it is like when something's so big, or it's. I'm trying to think of examples because it's that extra lore that you add into it.
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of like fan fiction, but people think of something that's, hey, this happened, but did you notice all these other things? It's probably because of XYZ.
Yeah.
And then kind of go into an explanation that people really did make up. It's not really canon to the story, but at some point, maybe it is. I don't know.
But I don't know. To me, it's fun. Do you ever watch a movie and at the end of it you think about what happened to all those side characters where we didn't really get
Sure.
to like see what happened to them, and then you kind of imagine like, oh well, I'm sure that they probably went here and then this and then this,
Yeah.
and it's fictional characters.
Well,
but
who's really good at this whole story making thing, but they do look into a lot of these stories as well, is Film Theory, Matt Pat.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They do a lot of these where they go into and do deep dives into films and why things are. How rich is Scrooge McDuck?
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Stuff like
or,
that where it gets...
what was the one I watched? They were like, what level is Ash's Pikachu after all his whole time of the anime, which was what, 20-something years?
Yeah. I mean, he's got to be like level like 5,000 or something stupid, right?
Literally like not even 100.
Not even 100. Oh, that's
And
sad.
they counted every single battle, and like I was like, what? Like it was cool. I mean, it was me. It's one of those things where like I'm not gonna watch every single episode of Pokemon and then say what his level is, but I'm glad somebody else did it. Thanks, Game Theory.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really cool, interesting stories like that obviously stuff that's never going to be explained in the films.
And it doesn't matter, and I think that's what makes it so much cooler, right? Or it.
I think so. Maybe not necessarily. No, yeah. In some senses, it is
like
cooler.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun because you're taking the story you already love and expanding on it, either on your own or with other people. And that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna kind of react to other people's expansions of said stories.
Yes.
And have you ever thought of XYZ? And we'll go from there.
And we'll read off these. So this is on Board Panda. It's called 40 Movie Fan Theories that may leave your mind reeling, which is a weird choice of words. I wouldn't.
Reeling, get it? Reeling, get it? Real movie, real. Play on words. Anyway, so we may not get through all 40 because it might be long, but we'll try to get through as many as we possibly can. Yeah, we'll try to get through as many as we can.
And then I think it's just fun to like the ones that obviously, and that's the thing too, is we both have to see the movie, so I'm gonna go off of ones that.
Yeah, if there's a movie that we haven't both seen, where there's no way we're gonna go into that.
Yeah, like call me out for never seeing Jurassic Park.
The fuck, right?
It's scary to me.
Jurassic Park.
My brother used to put it on, so I'd leave the room.
That's funny. That's fucking comical.
Be like, oh, I don't want you in here. So he'd put on, because I would leave, because I don't know what it was. And I'm not, like,
Really?
afraid, I guess.
It's not scary,
I can't say I'm
like,
not
at
afraid
all.
of dinosaurs, because dinosaurs are fucking scary. Like, if you saw a dinosaur in real life,
yeah,
you would be terrified.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It freaked me out. And I'm an adult now. I should watch it.
Yeah.
Same with E.T.
You know the cool thing about dinosaurs?
What?
They're all fucking dead, dude.
They're all dead. These ones weren't. They got them back to life, and it was weird.
Yeah.
So I can't do the Jurassic Park fan theory and never be mad. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go jump into number one.
Okay. So this one, and we were going through this a little bit, so this one's not super surprise to us because we had to read through and see, research.
If we actually wanted to do this or not.
Okay, this one's fun. This one's about Harry Potter and the Sorting Hat.
Yes.
So what they're saying is that so when Harry goes up, he doesn't specifically say what house he wants. He says, not Slytherin.
Oh, yeah.
Not Slytherin, not Slytherin.
Yeah,
I don't want Slytherin.
Because under his voice the whole time he's saying, not Slytherin, not Slytherin, not Slytherin, the whole time.
And then so they give him Gryffindor, which is the one of brave, right? So Gryffindor is brave. And it says, when all of the Gryffindors first come in, none of them actually seem to have the main trait of the house, which is bravery. Neville is cowardly. Also, Neville is amazing. He had a glow up. He's one of my favorite ones. Ginny is shy and meek, whereas the other houses you can tell that they belong. Like Malfoy obviously belongs in Slytherin because he's a jerk. So the theory is that Godric Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Griffin. That sounds like a medicine.
A medicine.
Take your Griffin today.
Don't forget to take your Griffin today.
So,
side effects may include
bravery.
Sorting hat mishaps.
Sorting hat mishaps may happen. In the small print. Okay, so they said that Godric.
Yeah.
He told the Sorting Hat to purposely so that it would never just simply choose Gryffindor because Hermione asked for it. Again, Harry doesn't care. He just doesn't want Slytherin. So they're saying that the test for Gryffindor isn't if somebody is already brave. It's if they have the bravery to make the massive choice for themselves.
That makes sense, because originally it was going to probably pick him for Slytherin because of his tie to Voldemort, right?
Yeah.
Almost automatically.
Well, he's part of him, so it makes sense. What's your house?
What's my house?
What's your Harry Potter house?
I did the thing once, and I can't remember.
You don't remember which one it was?
I think it was Slytherin. Yeah. I really do think it was either Slytherin or Ravenclaw. I can't remember which one it was.
It was one of those.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff suck.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they don't ever do anything. Like they just hang out.
Because they were intended to be passed by freaking Passover houses.
I like main character energy, so I'm Gryffindor.
Yeah, I mean they had like a little bits and pieces of both those two houses in some of the later movies, but
kind of
they really weren't. They really weren't main characters.
I'm sorry, but Hufflepuff, I feel like that's the stoner group. Like.
Well, because it's got Huff and Puff.
Hey, you guys, later. Hufflepuff. Hey, you know. We got some magic in there.
Yeah.
I know that's not right, but that's what I think of. I'm like, Hufflepuff's the stoners.
Just because of the name?
Yeah.
You're fucking
What do you think they thought of that? Hufflepuff?
Huff and Puff, man.
Hey, give me Huffles of those puffs, dude.
Ravenclaw I kind of put in the same respect as, what do you call it? Slytherin, quite honestly. I thought they were, like, just based off the name, I figured they were also kind of evil, maniacal,
Isn't it
but
weird
they're not.
that they have a whole house for evil kids?
For evil kids, I know. It's like, we're gonna make fucking bad guys. What the fuck is that? I don't understand.
And it's funny, too, because in the last movie, when they're all fighting now, and the teacher's like, take all of Slytherin in the dungeon, like, whoa. Like,
oh, I know.
I guess we all are bad guys. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, they're just creating their own enemies for the future.
I don't understand why it's like as if the X-Men would also fucking start, like, training some of the fucking bad guys. You know what I mean?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a whole movie about that. Did you ever see Megamind?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
When he defeats his nemesis.
His nemesis,
and then now,
make-believe nemesis?
Yeah, who's played by Brad Pitt. I can't remember his name, but it's like Mr. Man or something like Mr. Strong. I don't know.
I don't know what the dude's name
is.
Yeah.
But then now he's bored because he doesn't have a nemesis anymore. Now what do I do?
Right.
I win.
Yeah.
Okay, he took over the city and he was like,
Yeah, so he had to create his own other nemesis.
And he did. And it was Jonah Hill. It was great. That's a fun movie. Have you ever seen that? It's a throwback. Megamind.
No, it's fun.
Not like a top... Like, I feel like nobody ever talks about it, but it was a fun movie.
It was freaking hilarious. And there was a part 2. It was pretty funny, too.
There's a second part?
Yeah, pretty sure.
That's news to me.
Pretty 100% positive.
This is news to me because I love that movie.
Yeah.
And what would they do with the second part? Syndrome?
I think he was the good guy.
Megamind turned into the good guy.
Oh, it's good. It'll be coming out this year.
Oh, though. Oh, it's not out yet?
No. It'll be out this year.
That means we get to deep dive.
2024.
We get to deep dive the old Megamind before the new one comes out.
If it ever even makes it to theaters, because a lot of things have been fucking back shelved. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I know there's a new Trolls, but did it come out in theaters or did they just release it onto Prime? Because I think it's streaming on Prime.
Yeah,
and they did straight to streaming up for Trolls.
Yeah, because the first one didn't do too well.
But that was COVID.
Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah. Everything went straight to streaming during COVID.
Well, because they're like, we can't.
We can't go to the movies.
So
I really thought the theaters would be dead by now because of all that, but no, they bounced back.
I think people like.
I like the idea of when the theaters first started opening back up, they let you rent the entire theater for $100.
What?
Yeah, you can rent the whole thing and bring your Xbox in or whatever, and use the whole theater for a few hours for $100.
They don't do that now.
No, because now they've got movies playing.
Oh, that would have been so cool for a birthday party.
For birthday parties, they just wanted people to come in and just use the theater.
That's what I'm saying. And set up a freaking
you can or just do a private showing of whatever movie you want to watch.
Or a Smash Brothers party.
Whatever you wanted. $100 for the whole fucking theater.
Well, it hurts my heart that it's not there now.
I know. I wish they would, on off days, weird days, they would have that availability.
That should be an always
I know you can rent the theater, but it's
probably for $1,000.
It's several $1,000.
That's insane.
Like Ethan's school rents out the theater
for that
event.
That makes sense.
It's also several thousands of dollars for them to rent it out, and we pay for it.
I was gonna say you buy tickets.
Yeah, so we pay for it. It was $20 a ticket. It comes with popcorn and drinks, but for $20, so it's like.
And that's cool because it's especially because they're in film.
You get to watch it on the silver screen. Exactly.
I would do it too if I was a fundraiser type thing or a school. Yeah,
I would rent. I mean,
for $100, so I'd rent a theater just for fun.
Exactly.
Like, what are you doing today? I'm at the movie theater.
Yeah, you want to come?
You watching a new movie?
We're at Theater 7.
No, I'm playing Xbox. We got Roblox going on over here.
Oh, jeez.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Crazy times, man.
It's crazy.
But yeah, I wish they kept that going for a little bit longer because I really wanted to do it.
Yeah, but they probably weren't making any money.
Because there were no films playing.
That's true. Well, or they all went to streaming.
They all went to streaming, so they're like, fuck it, we got empty theaters, come and use them.
And then it was funny, too, because when Oppenheimer came out, they were the opposite. They were like, oh, we're keeping it in theaters for
X amount of days.
I think it was 100 days or something.
Now you can watch it on TV.
Now you can, but they wanted the release to be 100 days.
Yeah.
But it's funny how time is so crazy and how stuff changes, even talking about COVID now, it's been... 4 years?
We still talk about it like as if it was the beginning of time.
We
do.
I feel like it messed up my concept of time.
Because it's such a huge... It was such a huge point in our timeline, right? You can think back of almost two things that really happened, especially for our age. You can go back to 9/11 and COVID. Those are the two biggest fucking points in our lifetime, at least.
Yeah.
We didn't have, world wars or Vietnam or anything like that, but we did have, Iraq and stuff like that.
We did have wars, but
they were because of 9/11.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and stuff carried through after that.
We're going to be demonetized for the amount of time we said 9/11 and COVID. We are screwed.
We don't get enough views to fucking matter.
If we were monetized, it would be not. But we're not, so we can say whatever we want.
We can say whatever we want, yeah. But seriously, there's such huge points in our life that we'll remember it forever. Our kids' lives too, quite honestly, but maybe not the younger ones.
No, your youngest will remember.
Yeah, your youngest probably won't. She's too little.
Yeah, but my it's weird. It was a weird gasp time because sometimes you think time to me I think time of through grade or through event or we were in.
Oh yeah. Hey, remember in high school?
Yeah, or high school, or you kind of your concept of time because it goes off of that, and COVID, it was there's nothing to go off of because my calendar went from completely booked forever to nothing to do.
Nothing, exactly.
So, and it's We had a great time. Honestly, I loved it. I was spending all that extra time with my family.
We had such a good time.
We had such a great time.
Like, a lot of people bitched and complained. They're like, I can't wait to get my kids out of the fucking house, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I wanted to keep them for fucking
But
ever.
I couldn't imagine being stuck in a not good situation in that situation.
What if, you can look at it, like, we were pretty fortunate.
Yeah.
We have a backyard, you have a house to go to, you can walk down the street to the park. Some people lived in apartments that are really small.
Or some people were with people they didn't want to be with.
Yeah, exactly. And some people had to freaking stay with their abusers, and there's a lot of scenarios
But I don't, that's what I'm saying. Like, I personally, same with you, it's like, I loved it because I
felt very fortunate for those
I was super fortunate.
Like 18, 19 months or whatever it was.
It was fun. Like, we get to go order, like, big old packs of, like, food from restaurants, and then, like, remember you'd go to, like, Lazy Dog for, like, $20? You're like, here's a pound of flour.
The company that would supply all the restaurants out here, they started doing order sheets so you can order for them.
So you can order from them.
Because the restaurants weren't ordering.
Doing it.
So you can order in mass bulk. We ordered, like, a 75-pound box of bacon.
Oh my god!
I mean, it lasted us for fucking ever.
Like, we got bacon.
Ever. But it was this case of bacon.
But
it was nuts.
Cool. Like, I don't know. I thought it was fun.
And it was super inexpensive. I'm like, why can't the grocery store be this fucking
Well,
cheap?
Now we're paying for it. Okay, we're all paying for it now.
Now we got fucking.
So I'm glad we had fun because now we're paying for it.
Enjoy it while it lasts, bitches. Because now you're fucked.
And guess what? All that free money.
Yeah, we're gonna burn it.
They're gonna take it.
Yeah.
But that aside,
it
was great to spend time with my family.
I enjoyed it.
Even if it was like forced or like we had, you have to be home. It was like I got to see my kids grow like so much. I don't know. It was cool. I liked it.
Ethan didn't like the schooling aspect of it.
Oh, don't even get me started on the schooling aspect.
Liam fucking thrived.
Did he thrive?
He like wake up in the morning. He's like, "What's on my list?" So okay, I'm gonna sit down for it was like a 30-minute class in the morning.
Yeah.
Then they have their classwork for the day. He would burn through it in 20 fucking minutes.
He's
like,
smart.
I'm done. He's like, what can I do now? Whatever the fuck you want, dude.
Did you finish your
So
work?
that was his motivation, was to get it done. Because of that, now he gets home from school, he burns through his fucking homework, gets it all fucking done. He's like, I got piano. I'm like, yep, you got piano. Finishes piano and runs back to the computer. He's like, I'm
smart.
done.
He knows what to do. Yeah. He's like, if I get this done, then I honestly probably would have thrived in that environment too. If you gave me a list when I woke up and like I just went to my computer and like bop, 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 you're like,
done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bop, bop, bop.
Done. I'm done. Exactly.
It was easy. We didn't have.
But we didn't have anybody to like. Even when we'd come home from school back in the day, I didn't have anybody hounding me for, did you do your homework?
Did you do your homework? Yeah, because they'd be like, I did.
Yeah, but I did my work.
It's all good.
Yeah. What's the next one?
This one's fun. This is about the original Willy Wonka from the 70s with Gene Wilder. I know there's two more, but we're talking about this one specifically.
The OG.
Okay, so pretty much they're saying all the kids are jerks, right? Like,
they are. They're all
know
shits.
that.
I mean, we all know they're all little shits.
So what this is saying is that Wonka wasn't happy in his job, or Wonka wasn't happy doing what he was doing.
It was kind of obvious, right, though?
Alone and kind of, I mean...
The only reason why he'd be giving away his whole factory is because he's like, I'm fucking done. I need to retire, dude.
I know, but I don't think he retires. I think he just gives it to Charlie and hangs out.
That's weird.
That is because if you bought a business, you'd want the old owner to hang out for a little bit to show you how it goes.
For a little bit, and then I want him to fuck out. Because at some point it's gonna be yours. Like this one business I was looking at, the guy wanted X amount of dollars, right? And then he said, I'm gonna stick around for a year, and you pay me for that year.
A salary of that year.
So I'm like, no, that's included in the purchase price that you are to be retained for that year. Part of the goodwill of the company. Yeah. I'm not gonna pay you a fucking salary, dude. That's why I'm buying the business from you. And then at the end of that year, if you then you leave. You go away. He's like, no, I'm gonna stick around for a few more years. Because that's his office. He wants to keep his office.
He doesn't want the responsibility.
He doesn't want the responsibility. I'm like, well, then you just need to hire a fucking good manager. Yeah. That's what you need.
Yeah, and
you don't need somebody to buy your business.
I bought your business and I have a manager, so...
Yeah.
Oh, toodaloo! Jeez. I didn't both think toodaloo. Toodaloo at the same time. Okay, but so I don't know if Wonka sticks around.
Because that's this, I swear, means toodaloo.
Toodaloo. It does. Toodaloo. And this means you're a little rascal.
Yeah, little rascal. All right. Anyway, so
Okay.
Wonka is trying to give up his factory because he's miserable
Yes.
at his soul, and he wants to dump it off on some poor, naive child.
Exactly. So this says, but Charlie is the only one gullible enough and innocent enough to take care of the factory and follow the rules forever.
You know, it does make sense, though, that he would stick around because he's still a fucking kid. He probably has to wait till he's an adult before he can bail.
He ain't giving it to that swindler Grandpa Joe, that's for
No,
sure.
because Grandpa Joe was ready to fucking say, fuck you, we're going to go give that...
Oh, that fool would freaking run it to the ground.
The gobstopper, yeah, exactly.
That selfish-ass dude would ruin everything. I wouldn't even let him come in. I'd be like, look, there's a side door for Grandpa Joe.
Yeah.
There's a couple pieces of chocolate. You stay over there.
Yeah, Grandpa Joe, see that rocking chair? You stay there, homie.
That's literally the worst part of that movie. And I'm assuming it's in the book because it goes that way, but it's like, dude, you've been in bed for 20 years and your daughter or daughter-in-law, whoever Charlie's mom is taking care of you, has taken care of you for 20 years. And then Charlie wins the ticket and you just jump for joy and like, you should have went to work, motherfucker.
It's like anybody fucking winning the lottery or lotto, right? You got all the freaking family coming out of the woodwork going, hey, I got an investment for you. Man, you haven't been around. I don't even know what the fuck your name is.
I know. Wait, what? Charles? I don't know.
I don't know your name.
That's Grandpa Joe.
That is Grandpa Joe. Grandpa Joe is looking out for me.
He gives the same energy as that long lost fourth cousin calling you when you got some money. Like,
exactly. Hey,
it's Joe.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah.
I've been bedridden for 20 years, but then we won a prize, and I just sprang right up and sing a song.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know Grandpa.
Yeah, we know Grandpa.
Okay, so keep him out. That's
Grandpa money hungry.
Money Honey Grandpa needs to get out of here. He's like, we should get the Grandpa Joe part, Grandpa.
I'm bent that he didn't take his mom, quite honestly. His mom, who's been busting her ass.
His mom goes to work every day to feed 6 people.
I know. And
6.
And doesn't reward his mother by taking Grandpa lazy ass Joe in bed. But they make it look like,
drives me nuts.
In the story, they make it look like he's like, feeble old Grandpa Joe. But you look at the deeper side of it, and Grandpa Joe is fucking, he's like, oh, somebody's taking care of me. I ain't got to do dick. And now we got some money in the family.
I think this fool's in his 60s, to be honest. And if you've been bedridden...
he looked like he's in his 70s.
Whatever. 70 years old. You've been bedridden for 20 years.
Sure.
So since you were 50, you've been just in this bed.
Yes.
50. Think about that. Like, no. You can get up.
That part of the story is stupid.
But we don't like Grandpa Joe.
No, I've never been a fan of Grandpa Joe.
No, and he should have took his mom.
He should have taken his mom.
Who's doing the laundry and singing songs that we skip through, but that doesn't matter.
Just to reward the person taking care of everybody. And snubs her for Grandpa Joe.
Yeah, well, Grandpa Joe needs his tobacco.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So, it says that Wonka saw he was the only one suitable to push this hellish existence on. He'll be fine in the near future when his family is alive, but when they're all eventually gone, then he'll likely realize that Wonka's factory was never a reward at all.
No, what I think will happen is somebody with a mindset of not just make this factory fucking work will find a partner, create a family, and then it won't be an issue.
I was going to say, Charlie's about to get laid, and
yeah.
he'll be fine.
Yeah, but Wonka was a fucking weirdo, so he could never find a partner.
You think, you don't know, maybe one of them Oompa Loompas?
Oh, yeah, maybe he was banging an Oompa Loompa. He could have been, yeah. He could be dad to a few of those Oompa Loompas out there.
He could have created more Oompa Loompas that we just don't know
Their
about.
genes are so strong, they all still look like Oompa Loompas.
Is there a female Oompa Loompa? Is there female ones? In the movie, there's not specific.
I didn't see the new one because
I haven't either.
Because they actually have conversations with Oompa
I know,
Loompas
but the
stuff.
Gender of these, obviously, you have to have 2
like
genders
dudes.
unless he's generating them. But he found them in that crazy forest.
Just like Minions, all the Minions are dudes.
He created Minions, and no, they found them on an island.
They found them on an island.
Why is there not more female characters to have more of? We need a female Oompa Loompa to have more Oompa Loompas.
The Smurf series. Holy shit, it's replicating Smurfs.
My God, it is completely Smurfs. But is Gargamel like Wonka or is Gargamel Grandpa Joe?
Oh, fuck, that's a good one.
No, but you're right in the sense of the Smurf world and the Oompa Loompa world.
Because what's her name from the Smurfs?
It was created by Gargamel. She's not real.
She was made. She's not part of the Smurf.
She's made out of clay.
Right.
Only real Smurfs have Smurf essence.
Right. So they're asexual then.
Wait a second. What if, since the Smurfs, that Gargamel's always trying to get the Smurf essence, what if there's like Oompa Loompa essence that secretly Wonka has behind his door that he's extracting all their essence from them. Like,
just like the minions in fucking Groot. How else is he getting so many more freaking minions, dude?
Like, and he's getting their powers, and that's
gotta be.
So this is slavery.
It's slavery. Well, minions more so. They really loved Groot, right? They like worshipped Groot.
Yeah, no, but there you felt the love.
Yeah, you did. They were like his
that.
little children, and they needed a papa figure.
I think they were made for that. Like minions are henchmen. Like they're made to be that evil villain henchman.
Right. But thing. Oompa Loompas look like they're just a bunch of slave workers.
Oompa Loompas look like they're doing a lot of work. Like, I'm not saying minions don't do work, and Smurfs don't have to do work.
No, but minions they're fucking off a lot.
But it's also funny how,
as hell.
When Wonka explains to them, he's like, yeah, I just went to their home, and then they were getting eaten by a monster, so I just put them all here. Like, okay.
So they were grateful for a minute, but then they stayed grateful forever?
Like, you don't think they want to kill the fucking monster, dude.
Kill the monster.
Kill the monster.
Kill the monster. Send them back home, man.
Then they don't have to gobble them up in handfuls.
They want to go back. Where do they come from? I can't remember.
Oh my gosh.
They did say.
No, and then the teacher's like, there's no such thing. I know there's vermicious grenades, or what does he say? Vermicious, I don't know, whatever.
Whatever.
But so you stole the Smurfs initially, and now they're slaving for you.
Yes.
See, that's fun.
They're just orange Smurfs.
I like that lore better than the Charlie's gonna be miserable. I like this Oompa Loompa origin story.
I think it's gonna get even.
Which they probably covered in a movie that's already out that we haven't seen. So shut up, okay? Because we haven't seen it. Because that's the origin story, right? So I'm sure they covered that. They had Timothy was probably all over that.
I really wanted to watch it until I learned it was a musical. I had a hard time with it.
I can't wait. I want to watch it even more now. Troy doesn't want to watch it, but I'm down. Maybe I'll take my mom.
Tell Troy you can come over for a beer.
Oh, they're going out to watch what's it called?
Fake Smurfs.
The fake Smurfs. Okay.
Orange Smurfs.
This one says this is about the Lion King.
Okay.
We all know Lion King.
Sure.
Says this is probably something that is super obvious to everyone, but it was a revelation to me today when I watched The Lion King with my son. So, Simba caused the drought in Pride Rock. The past kings like Mufasa are in the sky, specifically the clouds, as shown by Mufasa, talking to Simba when he's with Timon and Pumbaa. Oh, is he talking about the sex cloud? That, like, when Mufasa comes in as
right.
And then it goes away. And then the clouds, which carry the rain, left to follow the rightful king when he left Pride Rock. Simba spent years with Timon and Pumbaa, which is kind of cool. But also, like, they adopted Simba because they didn't want to get eaten. They're like, hey, if we take him under our wing, then we're not going to get eaten. It's going to be great. I'm going to eat these bugs. You'll be fine. You're a lion. It worked. Okay, so Simba spent years with Timon and Pumbaa in an apparent tropical jungle that obviously gets plenty of rainfall. When he is shown going back towards Pride Rock, the clouds roll in behind him. They seamlessly follow the rightful king back to the Pride Lands, and it began raining shortly after. I've never even noticed these little things. I never
even paid attention that the storm clouds followed him.
But it's right though, because so Scar takes over, but Scar can't create a drought. Like, he can make scarce food, but he can't make it rain.
So Simba leaving didn't create the drought, but the rain just followed him.
The rain followed Simba, so he was all happy in his little rainforest while his family was dying of thirst.
Right.
I never even... okay, it keeps going. It says, for years it bugged me how Scar taking power somehow caused a drought. That's what I'm saying. Like, even if Scar took over, a drought isn't... unless they are connected with, him.
Right.
It really wasn't Scar seizing control or the hyena population exploding that caused the weather issue, but the rightful leader abandoning his people and taking the wisdom of the elders with him. So he screwed over his family.
But he didn't, I don't know if he knew that though.
I don't think so. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I had no idea. So.
And I don't feel bad for him running away. Like, you thought you killed your dad.
You're right.
I would also leave.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking. But I never even thought about it like that. And I didn't think, because why would there be a drought if Simba, animals leave all the time?
In the story, like when I watched it, I was probably younger, quite honestly. So
you were younger because I was like 5 when it came out, I think.
Yeah, so I was probably in my like early teens, right? So when I watched it, I just thought there was a drought.
That it just happened.
It just happened to be a drought. I didn't realize one had any impact on the other. I just figured there just was a drought, and all of a sudden now here comes the rain again.
I never even noticed that there was a drought.
I think they pinpointed.
Did they talk about it?
Well, yeah, because they like to look at the water running out and like the animals don't have anything to drink.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like how do you? But that's like Scar could mess up as a king, but like he can't
create
get rid
the drought
of natural resources.
Right.
Like that one, you know.
No, yeah, I never put 2 and 2 together because I don't think I've watched it more than when I was younger.
Than that, I watched it a couple times, but it like I liked Lion King a lot. That was one of the first CDs I ever owned was Lion King soundtrack.
The DVDs?
No, like I bought the
music
soundtrack.
CDs. Music CDs. That makes sense because there was a lot of music on that.
5.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one about Star Wars.
Which one?
Okay. We've all been there. You forget to hit mute and say something embarrassing on a conference call.
Okay.
Vader has been doing this ever since he got back from Mustafar. It's called Mustafar? Mustafar?
Yeah.
Must have been far.
Must have been far. Must have been far. Must have been far.
Where'd you go? Mustafar.
Yeah.
Must have been far.
Must have been far, man.
After watching,
yeah, man, it's pretty far.
Must have been.
About 10 parsecs.
It must have been. That's what it was. After watching him force choke a dude, everyone was too scared to tell him. The longer it goes, the less likely it is that somebody will say something. So they're saying like, you know how Vader chokes people when he's angry, but he's trying to get information. But like, you can't tell me the information if I'm choking you to death.
Yeah.
So that's what they're saying. Like,
yeah, he's like a fucking 5-year-old.
He can't figure it out. Like,
yeah.
Answer me. Like,
doesn't know the limits.
I can't answer you because I can't breathe.
Exactly.
So all his henchmen are like, hey.
Yeah.
By the way,
yeah, his forced choke is kind of oddball.
His forced choke.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few times he could have fucking used that and like certain battles would have been over because like he was fighting Luke and he could have just went it would never been no battle.
Like, couldn't he just cut off his arm and like hold him up and like, ha?
Yeah,
like,
from a distance at that, you know what I mean?
Look at you, my son.
Yeah.
I'm gonna choke you to
Shove
death.
him off the edge. No, it's Star Wars as a whole is again one of my favorite fucking series. The whole IPs ever. But there are so many plot holes.
But I feel the same way about Harry Potter. I feel like
there are a lot of plot holes in Harry Potter. There's
the universe so much, things just kind of start.
The books explain a lot more. They're a lot more, but they're also, you know.
Did you read all 107 of them?
Not Star Wars. I'm talking about Harry Potter.
Oh.
The Harry Potter books. I mean, we listen to them. They're about 22 hours a book.
A book, okay.
Where the average.
So you could finish in like a week.
Yeah, so the average, because we don't listen to them in the car.
But you
all
have
the
to
kids
sleep. You can't, 22 hours, you have to.
No, it'd take us like a month to go through a book because it'd be when we're all in the car together.
You couldn't go forward or skip ahead. Like, that's like watching a show with someone, you gotta be careful.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Can't watch it yet. Like, not yet.
Yeah.
But those plot holes, like, he could have used his powers that whole time.
There's numerous times. Like, the whole series could have ended numerous times.
Oh, here we go. Kung Fu Panda.
Is it good?
It's short.
Okay,
so, I don't know.
So we got one on Kung Fu Panda, which is probably one of our favorite fucking series as far as animated goes.
I can't wait for the new one.
Yeah.
Jack Black. Okay, it says, the denying of the scroll to him was just a test. He wasn't supposed to accept the denial with humility. At that point, he would have proven his humility and been granted the scroll. Did this start? Why did it start like that?
I don't know. Like it's in the middle of a story.
But look, it says
no,
26 and like the denying of the scroll. So Poe didn't.
The part where he's denied the scroll.
Where they won't give it to him.
Right.
Because okay, well, let me keep reading because that was a weird start.
Yeah, that was a weird intro.
To test whether an acolyte was worthy of completing their training, the dojo will deny any acolyte the scroll at the end of the test, what kind of person they really are. If they had truly leadership in the art of balance and inner peace, in addition to physical training, he would have accepted the denial with humility. In doing so, the acolyte would then prove that he is perfect inside and out. And at that point, the master would then explain that it was just a test to grant him the scroll. I don't get it.
So if he had accepted the fact that he wasn't supposed to get it.
That he wasn't supposed to.
That he wasn't grown enough to get it, he would have gotten it. That's what they're saying.
Okay.
Had he been wise enough to understand that I am not worthy of this yet, that he would have been wise enough
to get it. It's like that.
Like a catch-22.
Catch-22. Like, oh, well, you had to say you weren't wise enough, and then you are wise enough. Like,
it's like, why don't you just tell me these things? I want to know.
He doesn't have Google, so I feel bad.
I know.
He couldn't Google.
I think we've gone over this exact story.
The scroll one?
This exact bit right here months ago. It sounds so familiar. Like we've discussed this bit before. Maybe. That's crazy.
I don't know, but he gets it, right? Because he does become the Dragon
Eventually,
Warrior.
Eventually, but not right off the bat, right?
I know, but I wonder what's going to happen now. What's going to happen next?
It'll be somebody to fight.
I know. They're going to fight?
They'll have another enemy that comes in and it's going to be the fight.
Kung Fu Panda?
So Kung Fu Panda,
okay, number 28.
Sure.
When the first film, when Marty goes to Doc Brown's house to get his help, going back to 1985.
Yes.
So my theory is, if you think about everything Brown says, his helmet actually works. When he says Marty has come a great distance, which obviously, then he mentioned the Saturday Evening Post, which is the paper Marty got out of the trash. Then he mentioned the making a donation. Marty gave the clock tower lady a quarter as a donation. Then he mentions the Coast Guard Youth Auxiliary. Marty had lied to his grandparents and said that he was in the Coast Guard. So they're saying that his, what's the helmet he has?
It's that big old contraption thing, right? He sticks that thing to his forehead.
That's right.
Oh,
so they're saying that,
don't say anything. Then he reads off his mouth. Yeah, no, it was obvious. He was rattling off stuff that was true.
That was already true.
So
that also isn't
then he's like, Doc. He ignores the whole thing. He blows it off.
That's a Marty thing.
That is a very Marty, because Marty is a bit selfish.
Do you know there's a new one? Did you see the preview?
No.
It looks really good.
Really?
And it's like, I think Crispin's in it.
Crispin Glover?
Yes!
Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't that crazy? I totally forgot about that till right now. There's a new Back to the Future. Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Is like Marty McFly's son.
Okay.
And he's in it. Michael J. Fox is in it.
Wow.
I know, it's exciting because I hope they did it right.
Yeah.
Like if they got the original cast, I saw, it was weird because I saw a glimpse of Crispin and I said, what? Why is he there? And Troy goes, because he's the dad. I'm like, I get that, but he literally sued this entire franchise because they stole his image. There's no way they would do it again. You know what I'm saying?
No, because if they did it again, there's already precedent. He would not only freaking get a little bit, he'd get a fuck ton.
So that's what I mean.
They would hire him, and they would not only would they hire him, they'd pay him a great deal of money to bring him in.
And that's what it came down to, was like it's a paycheck, and it's probably a great paycheck, and it probably is. Plus, it's fun. Like if you were in such an iconic series like that or movie like that, and they're bringing back the original cast,
I'd want to close it out.
Wouldn't you want to be in it? And you would feel left out if you're like the one character. They got the original Biff. They got all the OG characters in it.
Yeah.
Doc has to be in there. He's got to be in there.
It'd be like doing Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be odd.
So it's okay it's kind of cool to continue it, but going off of like where those characters are now.
Got it.
Right? They're kind of taking that Cobra Kai route, right? Where they used all the original characters.
Hopefully they do it right and don't do it cringy.
I swear to fucking God, it's so good. It's not cringy.
What?
Cobra Kai.
Oh, it's fucking terrible. It's fucking terrible.
No, it's not.
I fucking hate that goddamn show.
It's so good.
I tried so hard. I watched the whole fucking first season.
I don't know how. I don't get it because
absolute fucking dumpster
I never
fire.
even saw the movie and I loved it.
Oh, yeah. Watch the movie and you'll fucking...
I have since. I've seen them now. But, I mean, when it first came out, I had to, like, do a refresher.
Daniel is not even the Karate Kid.
No, he's never been the real Karate Kid. It was always Johnny Lawrence. He's
always
the original
Johnny
Karate
Lawrence
Kid.
is the original Karate Kid.
They covered that so much extensively in How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
When they were saying, like, but he was right.
No, he's
because
right.
You're like, this kid came in out of nowhere and, like, started getting training, but, like...
and he was
Johnny trained his whole life.
And he was the fucking bully the entire goddamn time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Daniel was the bully.
I know.
All the time.
That's why
he was the instigator. And he was the bully.
This because this gives Johnny his redemption.
No, I know, I get that. And that's why I originally thought I would like this series.
Redemption of
but it was so fucking hokey.
Well, season 1 is stupid. We're up to 3. Like we're about to get to 4.
Oh,
like
that's
really
unfortunate.
Deep. It's not. It's so super.
That's unfortunate.
It's super fucking lore. It's fun.
Mind melt.
Mind melt.
All right, what else we got?
Oh, Here's one from How I Met Your Mother. There's a lot of bleeped out cuss words. Have you seen the whole series, or you watched
for the most part?
Most of it?
Yeah. Most. I think maybe I missed the last season.
You didn't miss much. Who's a fan of How I Met Your Mother?
No, even Ethan's a fan of How You Met Your Mother. Yeah, he's seen the whole season.
It's great.
Series.
I mean, I like it better than Friends, but that's just me personally. Like, I think it's more relatable.
I like
to
it
me.
the same as Friends.
You like it the same.
I do.
But
I do because I really enjoyed the whole storyline of Friends. Because originally there really wasn't a storyline, like any of these sitcoms.
Most of them don't start off.
They don't start off with a storyline. Well, How I Met Your Mother though kind of does.
That's
because
true.
It's telling the story of How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, and they took it. I mean, all the scenes with the kids that go on for 9 seasons.
Yeah.
They had to film that and the ending.
Yeah.
That first season, the ending was filmed season 1.
Was it?
It was because those kids grow up. They had to do it. Because those kids, that's 9 seasons, that's like 9 years.
Yeah.
So those kids would look so different.
That's
so they
true.
filmed the end in the beginning so the kids would look the same age.
I wonder if they just didn't really tell the story because it was really not.
Well, they did the reveal. They revealed, first of all, that it wasn't really about his mom and it was more about Robin. But because the kids say that, the kids even say that, like, Dad, this story wasn't even about Mom. This story was about Aunt Robin. It starts with him meeting Robin.
Right.
So they since they had this, they filmed that in the first season. It was up to them on how many. Then you go until your season's done, right?
Yeah.
You don't know if you're gonna have 1 season, 2 seasons. I mean, How I Met Your Father had 2 seasons barely, and it's canceled.
Because it was dumb.
I know, but you just don't know how long you're gonna get.
It was cash grab.
Oh, for sure. With Hilary Duff was cool, but like all the other characters, like How I Met Your Mother is so iconic. Okay.
It'd be like bringing Friends back with the fucking
I'm
kids.
surprised they haven't, or like tried.
Yeah, it would be terrible.
I think it would
be terrible. Leave the original alone.
I think the Friends fan base is so huge, and like the original Friends is so watchable now that like you could try to reboot it.
They still have like the whole Friends scene at Warner Brothers. You know what I mean? It's still there.
Because it's so iconic.
Yeah,
it's such
they still sell the merch. We were creating the merch for them for a while.
Were you?
Yeah.
Like you have extra Friend merch?
We do.
It's like Friends.
Yeah, it says Friends. We have the coffee. What do you call it? The Central Perk coffee shop.
Yeah, I know you had that one because.
Yeah, we have Friends. Not hoodies, sweatshirts.
Fun. So it's like you have but it's still you could sell that right now.
We made hats and everything.
And nobody would. I mean, everyone would be like all about it without there being a new release.
I couldn't sell it because it's got all the Warner Brothers tagging inside of it.
Besides that, but I'm saying like Friends merch, like people are fans of Friends.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I feel like they're gonna try to reboot it. I'm just gonna say that.
Sure. I don't doubt that. There's always a cash grab for something. So.
And if anything, they will bring back some of the original cast.
Yeah,
but
I hope not. If they did do a Friends reboot, they only need to be cameos. I hate just like Fuller House. I hate the fact that the original cast is in there. It should have been a whole different fucking storyline.
I like when the original cast is the.
I like the original cast being cameos throughout the series, not just the first episode.
Oh, I like them
popping in.
I like them like as characters, so like I get to see what they're doing now.
I guess so.
You know what I mean? Like it's
I suppose because it's a whole new story. So
it's a whole new story.
To bring them in, I feel like it's a slap in the face for the original.
Like,
kind of like
they've grown up. Like
if they brought back Gilmore, like they tried to bring back Gilmore Girls, right?
Did it not do good?
Oh, it was fucking horrible.
It just didn't.
But the director was an idiot too, so it was really poorly directed.
The director's fault.
I'm gonna blame the director.
It's your fault, director.
It is. What's her name? Fuck, I can't remember her name for the life of me. It doesn't matter. Who cares? It was a fucking dumpster fire. I was a huge fucking fan of Gilmore Girls, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Okay, so back to How I Met Your Mother.
Yes.
Since we've jumped ship, we're so good at that.
Yeah.
We're pros.
We're pros at jumping ship,
like fucking
dude.
froggers.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We are.
Yeah, we got life rafts all around the boat.
We're fine.
Just like now, we're on one right this very moment. Let's go ahead.
Are you ever on the boat? No.
No, we're jumping back on now.
We're getting
it's
there.
It's more of a raft. Because we jump off. So.
And it's made out of Twizzlers.
It's made out of Twizzlers.
Okay.
They do float because they're made of fucking wax.
I know. Okay, so I don't have really much to prove this, but it's just a theory.
That's just a theory. A film theory. Sorry, Matt.
Because it said
It's an iconic line.
It's so iconic.
It's a YouTube iconic
I'm like,
line.
I said that wrong.
Yes, you did.
But
it was funny.
Just a theory. I've had for a while now. Ted does a lot of crappy things during the show's run, and that show that and something.
So somebody poorly wrote this. Okay,
I know.
Got it.
I'm trying. I think it is important that Ted is the one telling the story to his kids. We only ever heard one perspective of the whole thing. Why would you tell your own children, especially your daughter, that someone they called Uncle Barney their whole life repeatedly lies to women in an attempt to sleep with them? Good. I'm not good for on Barney. I'm sorry. That's weird to me.
No, but that's a good point, though. If I'm telling my kids a story, I'm not telling them about my horny best friend.
I would let my daughter know that people like this existed because
but it's continuous stories about their horny best friend.
Well, we were all watching, not just the daughter. It was for us.
It was for us.
But
that is a good point,
Uncle Barney, I mean, a lot of Barney's antics border on rape, and border on R word. I feel like if I heard my dad bragging about my uncle pulling this shit, I would cut contact with him. And I feel a lot of episodes where Ted's doing something bad, he immediately swaps the story about Barney doing something worse, which makes me feel like he was trying to make himself look better. Also, let's remember that when they see the other members of the gang talking about private shit, that they shouldn't like intimate details. Like, why would you tell that to your kids? That's not even a theory. No,
it's not a theory, but that is a good point to make, though. If you're telling your grandkids or your kids, this is kids, right? So if you're telling like talking to my kid is 17, right? I'm not going to tell him about some of the fucking bullshit that happened back in the day. You know what I mean? I
guess to an extent, because
But I'll tell them about antics and stuff.
The more they know, like, that's what I was saying. If I get, he's like, oh, why would you tell your daughter about this? So my daughter's aware of men that do shit like this.
Yeah, some of it is a little too explicit to be telling a child. Some of the kids were little, weren't they?
They were like
12?
16.
Oh, I thought they were like 12
No,
and 13.
they were older kids.
Okay.
Like they were.
Then yeah, I guess
they were older. So I feel like it's more of a thing of like, did you push it a little bit? Like, is Barney's antics messed up? Yes, but it's a show ultimately.
Yeah.
But I get it because the premise is talking to your children.
Yes.
You're almost grown children, but.
Yeah, that's true. If they're in their late teens.
They're in late teens. I would say 16's the youngest.
Then I feel that's all right.
Like, it's okay. That's what I'm saying. Let her know. Let the daughter know that, guess what?
But there are a lot of families that won't discuss anything with their kids.
I know. I know.
Like, everything is hush-hush.
Everything,
you know what I mean?
Which is not good because then they're going to look on their own.
And if they end up learning something about you later on, hey, Mom, you did what when you were freaking... You know what I mean? Like, I've already fucking told you that, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like, oh, you already know that. Like, I don't know. I'm like that because I'm such an open book. I'm like, there's not really much surprises. Like, there's not, be like, did you do this? Like,
when we're all, like, on road trips, we'll start talking about, like, say we're thinking about going to Mexico, I'll start talking about our trips to Mexico. To a certain degree. There's some of the stuff I won't mention because it's fucking gross. Not stuff that we did, but stuff like my friends did. That happened, yeah. Like, I guess that's the point I think he's making. Like, I wouldn't tell my kids about some of the stories that our friends wanted to do in Mexico.
No, it's true.
What I mean?
But I guess to the extent of, like, since he's saying Barney is the problem, like, I want my daughter to be aware of that behavior.
Of the Barneys in the world?
Of that type of behavior. But, like, hey, listen, like...
And that's a lot of dudes out there that are the Barneys of the world,
dude. Sure it is. But you're going to get lied to. Sorry. Like, somebody's going to lie to you to try to sleep with you. That's the world we live in.
All the fucking time.
Why not tell it in a fun way? Yeah. Or, like, be like, you know why I know it happened? Because I've seen it happen, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
I think it's more messed up that the entire time he's talking about their mother, she doesn't get mentioned until the last season.
That's pretty fucked up.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's what even the daughter calls out. Like, this is about Aunt Robin. Like, you should have just been straight up from the beginning.
Yeah.
You didn't love our mom. Well, you loved our mom, but you really
loved Robin.
Robin.
Exactly.
Like, this is your love of your life.
Yeah.
You're telling us you love her. You call her aunt, but that's just because they were close.
Yeah.
She's about to be mom.
I know.
We don't know what happened after the last one, but yeah, I don't know. That's not really... I'm kind of... Maybe we should have read through these because I'm kind of just... I know there's better ones. Like, I know there's better ones in the sense of even think about, like, okay, so if we think about the Truman Show,
sure,
right, obviously that is focusing on one character, but a lot of times when I'm watching that movie, because I watch it so much, I think about what the extras commute to work is that day, because
I think about that too.
Do you think about that
yeah,
too?
not necessarily like the extras, but like the main characters. Like
or do they leave on? Do they get to go on vacation, or what's the work rules?
No, and then how close to the studio do they? They must live literally on the outskirts.
You'd have to live on the outskirts
because if they need to be called in immediately, they got to be able to make it there fast.
Or do you just live in there and like? Just living.
I don't know, because it was like, well, the way they showed it in Burbank, right? Like the middle of fucking taking over like a majority of Burbank, right?
And that's the
like
thing.
Universal Studios was gone. It was just that.
It's just that. And there's a clip though of Meryl. It's not in the movie. It's a side thing that they did during the filming, saying that she was the richest woman in the world because the amount of marketing she was doing and the sales that she was doing.
Right. That makes sense.
She had all this money, but she couldn't
spend it. Exactly. None of them could.
Well, she could have once they broke up. Honestly, smart.
The extras could, because the extras, and again,
but that's what I mean. If they come in every day, are you commuting? So are you waking up at like 3 a.m, doing your drive to Burbank, getting to Burbank, going and clocking in?
They all live there. They all live there, dude. None of them live. I think they all, not at the studio, they live just on the outskirts, because there's plenty of houses in Burbank, right?
Or is it a thing like, hey, we'll pay you to live here because there's a school. With teachers.
Oh, you mean on set? Because there's a lot of faux set walls and stuff, right?
Yes, but like, but your neighbors and stuff, like, they're not going home. Like, there would be nights that you'd have to stay over.
Yeah, the only time Meryl really was able to get away is when she went to work.
Exactly.
So 8 hours a day, she can go do whatever she wanted to.
Unless he was going to go see her or get a hold of her.
Because she lived at that house.
That's where she lived. But I'm saying, do the extras also live there, or are they commuting every day?
I think the extras probably don't live there. I think because they can probably rotate extras, because he doesn't need to see the extras all the time.
Some, but you'd have to have your keep. Marlon lives there.
No. I'm not talking. That's not an extra. He's the main character.
But all your main characters. Like,
the neighbors and everybody that he sees regularly, they have to live either there or near there.
It's such a small area. I feel like I would know faces so quickly, or especially if I lived there my whole life, like I can remember a face.
Oh easily. Yeah, it'd be like living in fucking Stars Hollow. You know everybody in Stars Hollow.
You have to know everybody.
Everybody, because it's a small town.
So it's the fact of like, they just have to live on premise. I feel like.
I think some of the people. I think the people within the closest proximity to him would have to live there. I feel the people that are driving the cars and we're going to work and stuff like that, they can leave, and I feel that they can rotate through people. He just needs to see them every once in a while.
Yeah.
So that he remember, because he's got to remember them.
There's also a cutout clip of when he sees a guy in a wheelchair at one point, and he saw that same guy running a marathon, and they cut it out. But he like goes up to the guy and he's like, why are you in a wheelchair? Like, what is that? So it's like, that to me is like more of the lore of like behind, like where's that like lore of like what was everybody else? I get the show is just about him. We're all focused on him.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of extras.
Those motherfuckers. They had to live their whole lives.
And the kids that went to school with him would have also had to live their whole life.
Except for some of the, other than Marlon, a lot of them left for school, right? So a lot of them they didn't stay in contact with. But Marlon, yeah, he's had to live there since he was a child as well.
Since he was a kid. And then he takes vacations. You know, like one summer he went to the chicken farm to work on the Kaiser chicken farm, which is like their #1 sponsor. Yeah. He probably didn't. They probably just took him out of there to give him some fucking vitamin D because he was in a studio his whole life. Like, is that even more fucked up? Like not being the main character in the show, like being the Marlon in this, where you also as a child were turned into this.
That's where I feel like Marlon as a whole probably doesn't live on set.
Like he leaves every
because
day.
He's not there all the time. He only shows up when they need him to show up, right?
But shows up to the house. But when he kind of goes crazy and he goes to find Marlon at work, he shows up to his work and he finds him there, like, or he's stocking vending machines because that's his job. But
no, I think they knew that he was going to be at work. That's what.
When he went crazy.
Yeah.
But when Truman starts going off routine.
Yes.
He still showed up. Like. They would have to be so. You have to just be there all the time.
No, I feel like they would have to live either very, very near the studio, like within an arm shot, just like your surgeon lives really close to the hospital, right?
Right.
I feel it's that
but
same scenario.
But it's also like
I'm not comparing these actors to surgeons, by the way.
No.
Just talking about time frame.
If Marlon started here in second grade or whenever they met as a child, 7 years old, he also has grown up.
Mom and Dad signed off on this child.
For just to be the co-star.
Yeah, since they were in elementary school, right? Because they've been friends since elementary school.
And obviously when he's an adult, he knows what's going on. But who broke that conversation to him? hey, dude, you're literally on TV all the time.
Yeah.
And they must have told him when he was a kid, because he's best friends. You tell your best friend everything when you're a kid. Everything.
Yeah, because even if, say they didn't break it to him until he was, late teens.
Yeah, which they would have to wait till he was older.
Yeah, say that he was late teens. At some point, you're going to feel compelled to tell your best friend.
Do you think...
Unless they paid him and his family so much money.
If Meryl was the richest person in the world, pretty much, Marlon's not far behind.
And I wonder if they've ever pulled a what do you call it? A switch on main characters, and he didn't notice when they were young, when he was younger. Say one character got ill and they had to freaking go away. They had to replace mom. They were and switched him out. Yeah.
I mean, they killed off dad.
Right.
So of course that would happen. That could happen. Oh, it's weird to think that though, or to think that all those actors every day were going into this job to pretend to be living in this place, but it's obviously people did have to live there full time. His mom had to live there full time.
I feel like in a real life situation, something like this, that fucking that production company and that studio would get sued through their fucking nose.
Oh yeah.
By the federal government.
The government would step in
for labor laws.
Can't do this no more.
Because he's working for free this whole time.
That's what I think too.
Or is there an account for him that he doesn't know about?
He would have it.
But he didn't get to negotiate it.
It's all far-fetched because they adopted him.
That's true. A corporation cannot adopt a child. Yeah, exactly.
Could you imagine?
No.
They would just
they would do it all the time. They would adopt kids all the time so they can have labor. For fucking labor.
For slave labor.
Exactly. Child labor all day long.
No, we don't want that. We don't want that.
No, not at all.
Anyway, that's to me, I'm deep dive into that. So some of these were fun.
Yeah. Some of them are obvious.
Sheesh.
Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I sure as hell did.
I always do.
And don't forget to do all the wonderful little things down below. The likes, the subscribes, and the follow along. And please share this with friends and family as much as humanly possible. We're trying to grow the channel. We're trying to grow the podcast. And we need all of your guys' help to do that. It's free to do. And you can always unsubscribe anytime you want.
But don't.
But don't. Just leave it on there. It helps us out and it doesn't cost you anything.
But don't.
Yeah, and also don't forget to
backhand the notification bell.
Just like Dad used to do. And until the next one, see ya.
Bye. Stupid having a tree grow out of your head. That'd be kind of cool. I want it out of my head all the time, and I want a little bird hanging out like Woodstock.
There's a little bird.
Just who's that? That's little bird.
Little bird.